Welcome to Meet the Biz. Oh my God. Okay, this woman, talk about beautiful, inside out. She glows. I mean, she is no limits. She was selected as one of the 25 CNN heroes in 2017. She was featured on Oprah. She's received many awards, and I know that most of those awards are the people that she's with, her family. She is the founder, the creator of No Limits for Deaf Children. Here she is today, Michelle Christie.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, there she is.
Oh, I'm so happy to see all of you today. I'm so excited to meet you. Thank you so much, David, and the entire team. I'm just so excited to be here and share about No Limits.
Thank you. Thank you. And I love it. Now, where are you right now? I love this wall that you have.
This is my office. If you'll look, you'll see all the words that mean so much to me. I'm going to kind of tilt it up about believing in yourself and believing in people and gratitude and commitment and perseverance. We teach the kids the motto about I can do it, letting them know that they can do anything. There should be no limits to their lives. And so sometimes there are obstacles, but we try to do all we can to kind of lessen those obstacles so they can move forward and follow their dreams.
Right. Right. So why no limits?
Oh my goodness, that's such a big question, a loaded question there, David. All right, so for me, No Limits has been my life for the last 26 years. It really has driven me to do all I can to allow more opportunities and equity for children with hearing loss. And also helping their families, because it's a unit, right? It's not about just the child, it's about the family knowing what to do and fighting their way as well through the system to give everything they can for their child. And so I always think about why not No Limits. There's a quote by George Bernard Shaw, and he said a quote that says, "Some men see things that some men see things as they are and say why. I see things that are not and say why not." And I think that's really important, is why not do all we can to help the community? Why not all of us do our part to create equity and inclusion for people with special needs? I think it's part of who we should all be and do all we can to create that equity. So I always ask, why not? I wish I started it earlier. So I just, something that means so much to me.
Well, thank God you did start it. And you're, what you said, 25 years?
26 years. Yes, 26 years. I started, I was doing other things, and I just decided I wanted to shift gears and do something that would give me purpose in life. And it really has kind of driven it. It's kind of taken its own car ride, and I'm just like hanging on as it goes forward. So I've been really grateful to be part of it and to have an entire team of people along the way to make the difference with me.
Right, right. Now, a lot of people know what No Limits for Deaf Children is about, but for those who don't, what is it about?
Well, No Limits actually started as a theater arts program, allowing kids with hearing loss to be on stage and actually perform. So not just watch the show, but be in the show and receive all the benefits of the performing arts, creativity and like, of course, all of the memorizing lines and blocking and developing those friendships on stage with your cast members. But it also was important to me to bring awareness by the audience, that people would come in and see our kids and say, oh my gosh, they're so talented, like, wow, and really dispel any misconceptions about children. And also hoping that educators who maybe put limits on people would say, you know what, I'm going to actually, allow this child to be in the school play and not like put them as something in the background to really promote them. So it's a lot about awareness as well with the theater program. And then what happened is I was traveling around the country doing these theater productions with kids from New York and Connecticut and Philadelphia. It was so great. I got to meet all these kids and families, even though I'm based in LA. And then I started realizing that if I just closed my eyes and just listened to the kids' and what they were saying and just knowing where they were and their abilities is that if a family had a little bit more resources financially, those kids were doing better academically. And it just didn't seem fair. And so I really wanted to start a program where all of our services would be free and that a parent wouldn't have to have that stress of feeling like I can't afford that. I can't afford tutoring. I can't afford therapy. I can't afford to hearing aids. And so we developed our first educational center 24 years ago. And again, it's individual therapy, literacy, STEM, it's friendships, it's teen programs, it's community support, it's parent education. There's so many different things that we provide along with our theater. And it's been so great because with that, everybody can have access to a quality education if given it. And so we're going to be able to provide that for them. And so now we're in 45 states and actually around the world. So we really have expanded over the last 26 years.
I love it. I love it. And you have a big event coming up celebrating.
We do. Yes, it's our big annual fundraising event. It's going to be a blast. And I can't wait to see you there. So
I know, me too.
That's always like my, that's the best part.
Oh, I tell you, every year that, of course, we had a couple of years when we weren't available to go in person, or it felt like that. But every year I have been, it's one of my favorite things to do every year. I mean, it's magical, and you walk in and it's sort of like the air around you when you step in gives you a hug, and it's just the energy. It's a blast of an evening. You have singing, you have performances, you have Kathy Buckley, you have and food, and it's amazing.
Yeah, you can't forget the food. That's important.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like I really appreciate you saying that because I do feel like when you're there, it does feel like a family. A lot of the same people come back, which is so nice. You get to really see familiar faces and new faces. And, everybody's there for the right reason. They're really there to change the lives of these children. And they know it takes fundraising. And so the gala is about fundraising, but it's also sharing the success stories, right?
Yeah.
Sharing what our children can do and what they can do to help and be part of it. I always feel like, yes, people say, oh, you followed your dream. And it's not my dream anymore. It's everybody in the audience. It's you coming in. It's all these different people who are talking about No Limits are part of this dream. So it's really great to share this dream with so many people who are working together to make a difference. So could not do this dream alone. It's become other people's dreams. So I always appreciate you there, David.
Well, it's like I said, it's a joy, it's a blast. And I want to, before I go on with you, I wanted to just let everybody know, as we can see, we have a wonderful interpreter today. We have Michelle Williams here as interpreting. Thank you, Michelle. And then we have two others that are joining us, Diamond DeRusso and Hope Simon. So you will see them throughout the hour. So I wanted to thank you right now.
Yes, thank you so much. You guys do so much for the world.
Definitely. So you talked about plays and acting for the kids, but you were in the entertainment industry for what, 18 years before you started this?
I started when I was 8. Yes. My mom was an inspiring actress, and I really didn't want to be in the TV world. I was really, really shy. I barely spoke to anyone, never raised my hand in class. I struggled with academics. We came from poverty, and so we really didn't have a lot. And so school was kind of all I had and to educate me. But for me, it was like I needed to do it for the family. And so I went on an audition with my mom one day. She just didn't have any place to put me. So she threw me in the car and I went on audition with her, and they actually cast me in a commercial. And that's kind of how it started.
Right.
And then I started getting more and more work, and it was really helping the family bring in money. And
did you enjoy it?
I probably didn't enjoy it because I was always so scared. And so I just somehow, like the commercials, I would do what I needed to do, but it really wasn't comfortable for me. Yeah. But as I got into theater, which seems more scary in many ways because you're on the spot, right, actually brought me a lot more confidence and allowed me to feel more comfortable in my skin And so I did really enjoy theater. And that's where I think the whole No Limits Theater Group came about, just from my passion to see kids on stage and have that same experience of building their confidence and knowing that they can do it too. Because I overcame a lot just to get on stage. It wasn't easy. And once I did it and then did it again, it just became easier and easier. And so I really, really love the performing arts.
Yeah, it's interesting how you grow up and you feel sometimes which you didn't necessarily, but like for me, I felt, oh, I want to be an actor, I want to do this. But as you grow and change, you feel that your path is going in a different direction.
Yeah.
Um,
And it was a path that I think really helped me. It made me feel secure. It helped my family, to have enough money to put food on the table. So it was really, an economic thing for me. So I did it and it made me feel happy that I could do that. So that was that path for me. I did get joy out of it in the sense of just being able to help my family. But it was something that wasn't my path, but I found a different one, which is, I think that's what you have to do in life, right? You've got to find your own path.
yeah,
And so, although I think my mom would prefer me to be in front of the camera, that was just not for me.
right, right. And you mentioned that you travel. I mean, No Limits is all around the world. Where are some of the places you've traveled?
Oh, I've been so fortunate. I have traveled so many different places working with children with hearing loss, from Colombia to Kenya, South Africa, Vietnam. We have an entire program there. Japan, we've done a program as well. We also work with families in Canada, in Spain, in France. So all across the world, we're working with families. And it's just been such a joy. And for me to meet families in different countries, I learned so much, but what I've learned the most is that all these kids all want the same thing. They all want to connect with another human being. And you can do that through sign language, through spoken language, pigeon signs, whatever it takes. But people need to connect with one another. And if you don't have that, those are when those kids, they start to feel really less than. They
Yeah,
feel like people are ignoring them, or they feel like they're not part of this society. And to think about that and how hard that must be really fuels me to continue to try to open more doors and more opportunities for communication to exist. And so going to other countries, these kids are just, they're just as beautiful as every child that I meet here in America. They're just all wanting to connect. And
right.
so that's what's so important about No Limits, is we try to do that and do it in a way that everyone can participate, by making it at no cost.
Well, you were saying about there's so many different languages and so many different ways to connect, and that's as well as in the deaf community that I understand.
Yeah.
What is it about the differences of um, connecting in the deaf community and the hearing community? And what is your
Great question.
focus?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. For us with our children, with technology in the last 20 years, technology has been insane. It's just kind of like iPhones. Every year they get better, right? The same with hearing devices, and there's something called cochlear implants, which is a device that allows a lot of kids to hear all the speech range. So kids today who are born, and they can also learn to speak. And I think there's always this idea that every child learn sign language and there's not an option. And there are options for families. There's spoken language or sign language. There's both. And most of our kids are both. They learn to speak first and then they learn sign language. And so they can try to be part of the deaf community. But also sometimes there's a debate between the two. Some people feel very strongly that all children who are born with a hearing loss must learn sign language. Some people feel like they should only learn spoken language. So there's this kind of debate. And I think where No Limits fits in is based on choice. It's all about the choice of the family. I just spoke with this one family who's been part of No Limits for about 5 years now. And she said, I want to give my child the decision to make on their own. So I'm going to have them learn spoken language and sign language. So when they get older, they can decide what they want to do. Do they want to do one or the other, or do they want to do both? But what happens a lot with spoken language kids, we call them deaf speak, kids who are speaking, who are deaf, that they actually feel like they're stuck in the middle. they are not part of the hearing world. Take off their hearing device, they can't hear anything. And so they miss a lot of information. And it's part of the signing world. They feel like, oh, I don't really belong in the signing world because I'm not fluently signing. And so they're in the middle.
Right.
And so that's been really difficult for some families and for children with hearing loss is like, where do they fit in? They're not, what world do they fit in? And so for us, we really want to be able to allow them to feel like they fit in to like maybe their own world of just spoken language or deaf speak, or they could be deaf sign. But the deaf community, I think, is at a place where they're really starting to welcome more of our kids into their community as long as they learn sign language. And I think it's, I really hope that one day that can be unified, that there is no debate, there's no division, that we can all work together and bridge the gap. And that's so important to me because I think that internally we've had kids share that they've been bullied and they've been mocked, or people have not been friendly with them, you know, because they don't sign, or they only speak, or they just sign and not speak. And it's like people have all these judgments placed on children. And I think that's really hard for me to grasp because, you know, it's really up to the child and the family to make those decisions. And I don't feel like any of us should be judging anyone, especially about mode of communication. You know, that's just something that's a personal choice. I don't make any of those choices. That's not up to me.
Yeah.
And whatever the parent wants to do, that's up to them. And what the child decides they want to switch and be spoken language or sign language, that's going to be up to them, not up to any educator.
Right. Right. In connection to that and the community and the Hollywood community, how do you feel that Hollywood is changing in connection to all this?
Well, we've had some good news lately. I mean, we had an incredible actor, you know,
Yeah.
Trey Concer, who won Best Actor in the best movie, you know, Oscar-winning movie called Coda. If you
Yeah.
haven't
It's
seen it,
gorgeous.
see it. Oh my gosh, it's just a beautiful film. And so, you know, there is that representation, but it is, you know, again, it's showing sign language. So then something else happened this year, which we were excited about. It was the first time in history, I don't know if you heard, that The Simpsons actually showed a deaf speak character, which was actually my first student, which is so exciting, John Autry.
Oh,
And
he's
so
wonderful.
John was my very first student as a teacher, and he's been part of No Limits for the last 26 years. And so he got cast as the lead. So then it was a representation of showing deaf speak and deaf sign. So I feel like we're moving in the right direction, but it always needs to be balanced. I don't think it's just signing or just spoke, you know, deaf speak. It should show both ways of communicating. So there's not any misconceptions about it. So I feel like we're, you know, this year was a kind of a historic year for people with hearing loss, and that was exciting.
Yeah. I love how the doors are opening.
Yep.
Like last year, they were blasted open, and it's going to continue that way.
Yep. And guess what? It didn't hurt anybody. Like, I just sometimes think like everyone's so scared. Oh my gosh, you know, if they show someone, you know, who has a hearing loss, it's like, that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing, you know. It's so it's just showing that people are more comfortable and willing to place less judgments on people and see the potential of people. So
Yeah.
I just love that so much.
Oh, I love that, the potential of people.
Yeah.
I like that.
I always feel like I always say, like, every child that I meet there's a Picasso inside of them.
Oh,
Because and sometimes there's so many barriers and obstacles that you don't get to enjoy it or see it and feel it. And it's our job as educators is to just let these kids show their potential, their Picasso in them. And that's what I really feel is my job and everyone on our team's job, to do all we can, because they could be the next, you know, I mean, cure cancer. Like, I believe in every one of these kids that they can do so much, but only if given the possibilities and the opportunities, you know.
Right.
And so we got to make sure there's as many opportunities given to them.
yeah. And it's amazing to see what you have done over these last, 26 years now.
26 years.
How
It's
do you,
weird. I mean, David, it feels so weird. Sometimes you just feel like you're still not doing enough. I don't know if you always feel that way, but it's like, you still like, there's still so much to do. You're like 26 years, we should like check it off. But it's like, still, the world is evolving, right? And we still got to keep pushing through. And I know you do that all the time. And it's just like, there's still so much to do.
Well, it's interesting too, because we get, we want that. And every day I wake up, oh, okay, I still haven't done this, but I want to do this. And we're constantly doing and getting stuff out there, but we get stressed. And this is a
Yes.
question. I mean, you put your heart and soul into it. How do you take care of yourself? How do you center?
Oh my gosh. Not very well.
Oh no. You and I should go to like meditation class together.
Yeah. I tried to go to yoga and I got kicked out because I was so stressed out. They were like, lady, you got to get out of here. It was just too much. So I definitely cannot go to yoga with you because I don't want you to get kicked out with me. But I have found ways like, walking or swimming or trying to exercise to get rid of that stress. But I dream about these kids and I think about my work list and I'm sorry. I wish I was like more inspiring in that area, but I'm a work in progress. So I'm still working on it.
Here's the thing though. A lot of times I feel that, especially since it comes from your heart, that in a way, the constant is a healing to you. You know what I'm saying? So it's in a way, it's sort of like a meditation, even though
when I see the kids on stage, like it makes me so happy. I don't feel like it's work, but it was a lot of work to do a show. That it's just so much work, but I enjoy it so much. So it doesn't feel like work, but then I find out it's like 11 o'clock at night and I'm still working and I'm like, oh, wait, even though I'm enjoying it. So it's, there's that balance. And then sometimes it's just, you need to just shut down the computer and put the phone in the car and go up into your house and not look at the phone for at least 12 hours.
Right.
I have not learned to do, but we'll talk offline. We'll figure this out.
We'll talk. Yes, we will. I have a bunch of more questions, but I know a bunch of our wonderful participants today, our actors, our singers, our dancers, our students are here. So I'm gonna bring on a few people have sent in questions. So I'm gonna start with them and then we could choose whoever. Ooh,
got it.
Wait a minute, I think I just saw her. Was that her? Let's see, wait a minute. Yes, Ashley Anderson. Ashley Anderson is here today and she had a question for you.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi. Well, why was it your dream to work with children with hearing loss who speak with vision?
Wow, that's a great question. So why did I want to work with kids with hearing loss? That's a loaded question too. I think that I don't have a child with the hearing loss and I didn't know anyone with the hearing loss growing up. But I think for me, I was always alone. I spent a lot of time, my mom was always working and I spent a lot of time not really communicating and not connecting with people. So I think I could relate to that. And so I loved theater so much and I was always fascinated with sign language and children learning to communicate. So I think for me, as I learned to communicate through theater and develop my confidence, I wanted to give back. And Ashley, I don't know if you've had this before, but I had a teacher. She was my third grade teacher and it's crazy. Her name was Mrs. Smiley, which is crazy to be like, that's a perfect name for a third grade teacher.
I love that.
And she believed in me. Like she knew that life was hard at home for me. And she would just whisper in my ear and tell me like, you can do anything. And I think I wanted to be that teacher. I wanted to be a Mrs. Smiley when I grew up. And so that was really important to me to have somebody take the time to say, like, life is tough right now, but it can get better and not to give up. And so she taught me some really strong values. And so she was always in my head, like when things weren't going well, I would always hear her say, you're good, you're special, you've got this. And so I wanted to be that. So that was the main reason.
Love it. And Ashley, I know you had one other question that you sent in.
What inspired you to follow that dream after 18 years in the
What inspired you to follow
Inspired.
in the
Follow the
entertainment
dream.
industry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when I was 8, like I mentioned, I was doing a lot of acting. Actually, I was pretty busy. And when I went into theater in my teenage years, I didn't go to college. Like in my family, no one went to college, and it wasn't even talked about. It was like, we need to work and make money and pay the bills. And so I went into a job which was in casting. And since I kind of knew everybody in town and I had been involved since I was 8 years old, I kind of knew how the whole system worked. So I got hired and they started making me a casting assistant, and I was casting people and really having a good time with it, being behind the scenes, because I didn't really like to be in front of the scenes. And then I got asked by William Morris to come work for them, which is a talent agency. So I worked there for a while, and then I switched to CAA. And so I worked in the entertainment industry till I was about 23. And then I had like his kind of a big moment in my life happen where I decided to go back to school and be the first in my family to graduate from college. So went to school and then worked back at the entertainment industry, but then really started No Limits shortly after that and got my master's in deaf education. And then like a decade or so ago, I got my doctorate degree in education. So
That's amazing. And it shows that you can go back to school, everyone, and
yep.
and come back and have this whole another
Yeah, don't
adventure in
give
your
up on
life.
school. Yeah, and I think with school, sometimes I just didn't feel like I was smart enough to go to college, and I didn't have the finances to go to college. So there's all these reasons not going. It was just like all work, which is fine too, for whatever works for everyone. But for me, I had a situation where I wasn't raised by my father. I didn't know him growing up very well. Saw him like 5 or 6 times my whole childhood, and he we connected when I was 18. And he really wanted me to go to college, and he kind of gave me the confidence to know that I could do it. And so again, having another person in my life to believe in me is so important. So you got to find those people in your life and have them keep hugging you, like you mentioned, like hugging them and be around you, have positive people around you so you can follow your dreams, because following your dream alone isn't as fun as following it with other people.
Right.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Ashley, for your great questions. Thank
It
you.
really
Like,
was. Let's see. We have next on the list Bahara Saviz. Bahara Saviz.
Hi,
Hi.
I have a question for you. How do you help deaf children?
Great question. So, well, I have about 58 teachers right now. So right now I started out as a teacher of the deaf. So I would bring children into like a speech room we would have along with their parents, and we would have to attach meaning to sound. So a lot of our kids would have hearing devices, but it was white noise. It didn't mean anything. So they would just see people's mouths moving, but it didn't have any meaning. So we had to even start with just their name. So a lot of our kids, even today, come in and they don't know their name's Michelle, for instance. And so you'd have to teach them that you're Michelle. When someone says Michelle, you turn around so you know. And then once you start attaching meaning to yourself, to like, oh, this is your nose, where's your nose? And hearing nose means this, and attaching meaning, language starts to develop. And they start putting words, they start to learn a word, then they put 2 words together so they know the word ball, then they know blue ball, and then know big blue ball, and then it's like gigantic blue ball. And so they can just keep developing and expanding their language. So we do the individual therapy, and then really important for all kids is just literacy. I was mentioning when I was growing up, literacy and academics were tough for me because I didn't have a lot of support at home. So we really focus a lot on literacy because that's language, right? We want our kids to be able to read and write. So it all starts with technology, which is amazing today. And you realize just today with technology, if kids get the technology early on, pretty much if you get the support, these children can all learn to speak. And then we always believe like spoken language starts in the beginning. It's hard to learn spoken language. Say you go 25 years just signing and not hearing or listening to sounds. very difficult to teach a person to speak at that age, but you can teach people to speak early on in those critical language years, and then they can always learn sign language, which is what most of our kids do. So they do both. Thank you,
Thank you.
Mahar. It's so nice to meet you.
Thank
Yes.
you. Nice to meet you too.
Thank you. I have another question about you and your biggest joy in life.
Oh, wow. Well, my son, he's my life. You know, I am a single mom, raised him, and I just, I adore him so much. And just, I have so many kids here at No Limit, which is just brings me, it's like a huge family. And then having my son part of that is just such a great joy.
Yeah.
He just went off to college, so don't get me started. I might start crying. So watch out.
My baby is gone.
Yeah, I still think he's my baby, but he's 6 foot tall, so he's not a baby anymore. He
But-
keeps reminding me.
My
Yeah,
mom
my son.
still calls me her baby. So
Oh, I bet all of us out there have our moms calling us baby,
I
right?
know. Baby,
Oh,
baby.
I know, it feels so good, right?
Yeah,
So,
I know,
yes.
right? What was I gonna say here as well? What was a moment in your life that was life-changing? What was that moment that you, or one of the moments? We all have different moments, but what's a moment that was like,
Yeah. I think for No Limits, it was my first day of rehearsals back in 1996. Probably most of you weren't born yet. And I was at our first rehearsal, and all the kids were sitting in a circle. And I remember asking them, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they just kept staring at me. And I thought, well, maybe they're not understanding me. I'm going to say it a different way. When you grow up, what do you want to be? Be a teacher? Do you want to be nothing? And then one little girl raised her hand and she said, nobody asked me. And then I said, what? She goes, nobody asked me before. And I think that was that moment where I was like, wait, nobody's asking the kids what they want to be when they grow up. So how do they dream if no one thinks that they can do it?
yeah.
So I remember it really hit me hard. So I went to the parents and I had a little meeting afterwards, and I said, hey, do you talk to your kids about what they want to be when they grow up? And they just like, we just don't want to break their hearts if they can't do it. Like, what if they can't be a doctor or a pilot? They won't be able to hear. Like, I don't want to say they can do it, and it'll be disappointing. And so they were protecting them, which was what we do as parents. We want to protect our children. But I realized then that if we don't talk about it and we don't let them tell us what they want to be, and help them with that road toward their goals, then they're not going to be able to achieve what they want to do in life, and they won't even dream. And to think that our children wouldn't dream, I obviously, you probably all can tell, I'm a dreamer. Like, this is what I do. I dream about things of what I want to do, and I didn't want to take that away. So at the end of every show, and we've done hundreds of shows, the kids come out at a bow all by themselves, each one, and they say, I can be a teacher. I can be a pilot. I can be a animator. We had one say, I can be Spider-Man. I was like, all right. And one even said I could be a monster. And I was like, all right, whatever they want to be, but to know that they can do it, and at our graduations. And so this whole I can do it is so important, and also teaching them to dream and not taking away that from them because they have a hearing loss. That should never stop anyone from achieving their dreams or having dreams. So that was a really pivotal point in my life, and it changed the direction of No Limits, because it wasn't just about teaching them communication. It was about teaching them how to believe in themselves and not letting other people squash their dreams.
It's I love listening to you, because certain people just have that thing that you just want to take it all in and hear it, and it feeds you and it helps you move forward in your own path. So thank you for that. The words that you use, the dream, and just so many of the quotes that you use are like, have you written a book?
I've written two. It's called Silent No More. It's a series of monologues, but it's about, I hope you guys can all read. I'll get you some copies. If anyone wants any, I'll mail some to you. But it's individual stories about.
Well, I know I saw the show.
Yeah. So it's about the show, and so it's this great opportunity for us to see the potential of people. We talk about the Picasso, right? So you're going to hear all these Picasso stories, and the path wasn't always easy for people, but they didn't give up. And they did have those Mrs. Smileys in their lives, who brought it all together for them. And so it's, to me, through theater and taking the theater performance and putting it in a book, it can spread across the world instead of just being, you have to only be at the show. And as we all know, the power of storytelling through theater is just the best way to get to someone's heart and maybe change the way they think. We all judge, as much as we don't want to admit it, there's times when we do. And it's like, if we can stop ourselves from doing that or be aware of when we do it, we can be better people and hopefully make a better place to live for everybody.
Now, are you doing a documentary on that?
We're doing a documentary on it. Yeah. So really excited about that. And, I've been fortunate to be part of a lot of different documentaries. They did on No Limits and really sharing the story about the journey that I've had, but more importantly, the journey that the kids have had and these families have had. I just feel like the more we can share these people's stories, the more we can be inspired, but mostly create equity, right? And equity has to do with removing those walls and those limits we put on people and allowing everyone to be included in the conversation. And it breaks my heart when I hear kids and not getting that. And so again, I may have another 26 years doing this because it's like, we got to stop that. We've got to stop that because the world will be a better place with more children, all children having opportunities, not just children with hearing loss.
Yeah. Now, No Limits, I'm going to throw out a name in connection to that.
Okay.
Kathy Buckley. What comes to your mind when I say the name Kathy Buckley?
Right now I'm getting emotional, so I don't even know if I have a word. Unconditional. She's a person who loves unconditionally. And I don't think there's very many people like that out there in the world.
Yeah.
So she just she's a great friend, of course, but just watching her around other people and her love for people, it's really inspiring. So just really grateful that she's in my life. She's made me a better person. And when you talk about the hug in the room, she's my hug.
Yeah, she is a big hug.
Yeah. She's a big hug. And I'm 5'2" and she's 6 foot. So our hugs are a little like awkward, to say the least.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. We're having a cry fest over Kathy.
I know. I'm just like, oh my gosh, she's killing me.
Yeah.
It's amazing how 2 words can change someone's life. Kathy Buckley, So
it's amazing. It's amazing. And she's going to be there at the event this year.
Oh yeah, she's gonna be at the gala, and also we're going and doing a show in Boise, Idaho on Saturday. So I get to see her tomorrow, which I can't wait, and spend a couple of days with her before we do the show. So yeah, I'm very blessed.
Oh, I love it. I love it. We're all blessed. We're all blessed to have her and you. I mean,
thank you. I'm no Kathy Buckley, trust me, but she's just something I aspire to.
Yes, but you're Michelle Christie. We have Megan Clancy here today. Megan, do you have Megan Clancy? Megan Clancy, do you have a question, Megan Clancy, for
Megan.
Michelle Christie? Hello. Let's see.
Yes, please.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
You can voice for me. Okay. It's nothing like seeing an old friend.
Okay.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time since I met you the first time when you first came to LA a long time ago.
Remember?
Yeah. So I really love your group. It's funny because so the kids, I saw the kids in their school and I noticed that, well, I remember this one boy, he had limited language, but later he improved a lot. He was speaking and signing. It was really awesome. I love to see how the kids really evolve after so many years. Yeah. So my question for you, so I'm wondering if the kids that you work with, if they're still in theater, if they're still acting, or if they've moved on to different fields. And I know 2 kids who are adults now that they were involved in the program a long time ago, and they're still acting. So I'm just curious. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first, Megan, it's so good to see you. I know we've been also playing phone tag or email tag, I guess, to try to get together. So I can't wait. Well, yes, some of the kids have definitely stayed on path to follow their dream of being an actor, but a lot of our kids just do it for the fun of being around other kids. There's nothing better than to kind of start a show they know nothing about, and then within like 3 weeks they're on stage performing in front of hundreds of people, and that memory stays forever, and so have their friendships. So that's one of the best ripple effects of the theater, is the friendships. And so a lot of kids follow other things that they're interested in doing, but they do the theater so they can see other kids as well and know that they're part of a community. So yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun to watch.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So I'm wondering if you see those kids like reunite or like have a reunion, like maybe
Yeah.
having a reunion again or
Yeah,
some sort of celebration.
We did have a
California.
No,
Yeah,
just-
or moved away from California. You know.
a lot of kids moved out of California. It's very expensive here. So it's a lot of my friends as well. But I think yes, we've had reunions at our big like 20th anniversary and 25th, getting everybody together. I've been fortunate that a lot of the alum of No Limits come back. And so I get to see them a lot. They also they're used to coming back and meeting other families. So they become the role model. So for instance, we have some children with something called a BAHA. It's a special type of hearing device. And so a family will come in at No Limits and they've never met an adult who wears a BAHA. And so we can then say, oh, wait, we know someone, he's 25 and he finished college, and here, let's connect them. So a lot of our alum connect with our new families, and it's really life-changing for these families to meet an adult, that has a similar situation as they do. Like you're a role model, Megan. They become role models for the new families. So I'm thankfully I'm in contact with many of the kids.
Thank you, Megan.
Yeah, that's really awesome. That's a really awesome opportunity.
I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, let's see. We have another question here from a wonderful lady. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Who could that be? Is that Miss Kathy Buckley?
Oh no!
What do you do for a living? What do you do, girl?
Oh my God. Are you in the airport? Where are you?
I'm in a restaurant. I've been online. I've been holding on for over an hour. Everybody heard your speech at the dinner table because David doesn't give you a time as to when to come on.
I didn't
But I
see your
wanted to see
name
you.
there.
Aw.
I just gotta say, Michelle has been extraordinary in all that she does. She's amazing. I don't know where she gets the energy. I think we need to take the batteries out of her ass so she can slow down. And she's unconditional. She's the one who's given so much of herself to so many. And it's just a blessing to be with her on this journey of loving kids unconditionally, loving their parents. Because I know what it's like to have a hearing loss. I know what it's like to struggle. And it's just an opportunity to see these kids to go through life with less struggling than I had to go through. So it truly is a gift that she's giving these families. I like her a little bit, not much.
Oh my God. Kathy, oh my gosh, you're in big trouble. I'm tomorrow, you're in big trouble. I'm
Well, I
not
can lock the door in the hotel room. I'm not worried.
I'm gonna bring some chocolate cake because she always eats so healthy. I'm gonna bring something unhealthy to the hotel.
No, you're
room.
not. You've been eating really healthy too. So
Oh my God.
I'm having soup and salad right now.
Soup
Aw.
and salad.
But I
That's
just
healthy.
wanted to give you love in this moment
Thank
and
you.
remind you. And I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. I'm having a hard time hearing on the cell phone in a restaurant. So I just wanted to make sure I got to pop in and remind you that you are loved. You are somebody who I'm ever grateful for. And we are truly blessed to have you in all of our lives, honey. I love you, baby girl.
Thank you. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Thank you
Oh.
so much. Thank you, Kathy. I love you, babe.
All right, baby. I'll see you tomorrow, okay?
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Oh my gosh, David, are you killing me?
We had to bring a little
You're
surprise
killing
on.
me. Oh my
A
gosh.
big surprise.
I'm gonna
It's so
start.
fun. What?
Oh my
What?
God, I'm gonna start crying. Once I get off this, I'm gonna be like,
Let it flow. Let it flow.
oh yes.
I love it. Well, it's so interesting. She had been on for a while, and because I was looking Kathy Buckley, but her number was there, so I was like, "Wait a minute, she's been on."
You're in trouble, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. I try.
Of course.
What do you want the most at this moment in your life?
Oh wow. Oh, I think I want to be able to tackle fears and help people tackle their fears. I feel like I sometimes have my own fears in life, and I think there's a lot of fear right now in our field of spoken language versus sign language, and the fear that there will no longer a deaf community. And all of those fears, I think, are things that we can work toward and work through. And so I think with my own life, things that stop you because you're scared, I think I want to live a life with less worry, of not be afraid to do something because like, oh, I might not be good at it. So I want to take the fear away from the kids with that we've been really trying to do, but also just looking at the debate, it's called Silent No More, like just really talking about it so we can really bring everybody together, so we have a big one gigantic community of all this greatness instead of being a division. And I think that a lot of that division is because of fear, and I think we can work through it. I'm an optimist, so I really believe in that. And I don't want to say the word dreamer because sometimes it doesn't even sound as powerful, but I really do believe that this dream of mine will happen. I really do. And so I'm really
Coming
excited
together.
about it. Coming together. Let's come together. Let's just do so much. I mean, let's be that village together. It's not, can't do anything alone. You need to bring everybody on that same team and keep creating dreamers. That's our goal, right? Just to keep dreaming and creating dreamers to get the message out there. So, and I just want everybody to have that equity. I think that's such a strong word, but it means so much to me that our kids don't get as many services. Like when we had COVID, a lot of children didn't get schooling for 9 months. Yet everybody else got schooling, and they're like, oh, the kids with the disabilities, oh, well, they can't, they can't go remotely. They can't do this, like can't. And I was like, can, like we got to change that message. So that is really important that we don't allow things like that to happen when there's a crisis in the world, that everybody has equal access and an equal playing field for a quality education, and nobody should stop that from happening.
Welcome back. Our next story was inspired by the Chicken Soup for the Soul book, Be the Best You Can Be, and the story Embracing My Uniqueness. When parents are told their child is hard of hearing, they may wonder if he or she will experience a lifetime of hardship. For a child living with a hearing loss, every day can be a constant struggle in the search for help. Fortunately, there are solutions ringing through the halls of No Limits. It's a free after-school program for deaf and hard of hearing children ages 3 to 18. The program has flourished for more than 20 years and was founded by teacher Michelle Christie.
We teach children with hearing loss and their families the skills to succeed in school and in life. And we really are focused on helping low-income families who can't afford the services, trying to fill in the gaps that the schools aren't providing for them. Just getting as many doors open to them as possible to be able to communicate and connect to the world around them. Do you like it?
Michelle wants everyone to believe they can do it. And that is repeated over and over. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. And they can.
From interactive play to speech and language therapy and academic tutoring, Michelle and her staff work hard to help every student with any type of hearing loss learn and grow.
Teachers use a variety of activities that's really tailored to where the kids are at and their interests.
I would like a chocolate cake.
I would like a chocolate cake.
Here's a chocolate cake for you.
You'll see that every room that we have here is very experiential because we want to develop that language for these kids so they can communicate with anyone. Whether they sign or speak, it is our job to help every child do well.
Good. Give it to your grandma.
1, 2.
Seeing other parents whose children also have hearing loss that are much further ahead in the journey that you are gives you a lot of hope. To have your feelings validated that you're not in this journey alone, that your child will be successful in whatever way it might be, is priceless.
Another part of No Limits is their amazing theater program, where the kids are encouraged to step out from behind the curtain and into the spotlight of communication.
There's equal access on stage for all children, whether they speak or not speak. We started in 1996, did our first show called Building Blocks. And then last year, I'm so proud to say that our kids performed at Carnegie Hall. And that was a great moment.
When the kids come on stage and memorize their lines, we put up the audience. That will make them change, become a better person.
Last summer was my daughter's first time participating. Standing on stage, performing and singing and dancing is something I never thought my daughter was ever going to be able to do.
You know, you can't put limits on these kids because they can do anything. And so the theater and the education center all melt together in building the self-confidence and the skills that they can do well in life and in school.
No limit. It changed my life. Becoming more confident, more motivated.
The extraordinary benefits for the kids and parents who come here are lifelong and life-changing.
Being told at 4 weeks, she will never hear you, she will never speak, she will never understand, is heartbreaking. And seeing her at 6.5, being able to tell you, Mama, I heart you, means the world to me.
Now it's better to speak more clear. And she got a friend like her, she's very excited.
No limit, show the whole world that they can't do it, can build confidence.
Many people will try to put my daughter down in life, but when she steps in here, she's everything. She's important. Just like the rest of her classmates, they are the stars and they can achieve anything they set their minds to.
Thanks to Michelle and No Limits, countless families and children who have hearing loss are navigating the world differently.
I just don't think there's anything better than to wake up every morning and go, I can't wait to get to work. That's a great feeling. And that's how I feel every single day. 21 years later, you know, I can't imagine doing anything else. I just love it so much.
Well, Michelle.
David.
thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you. It was so much fun to meet all your team and the incredible students. And thank you for what you guys do. It's just amazing. I want to give a shout out to our interpreters. I talk very quickly, so I'm sure they're exhausted. So I owe you a drink. Just thank you so much. And thank you, David, and your team. You guys are amazing.